of the most famous groups of religiously persecuted colonists were the Pilgrims. Who were they? Why were they persecuted? What were their beliefs, and how did they get from England to the Americas? Well, first of all, who were they? The Pilgrims are a group of Protestants within England. They were known as the Separatists. Separatists are those that really oppose the Church of England's middle ground that they tries to steer between Catholicism and Protestantism. Remember that when Elizabeth I takes the throne, she molds the Church of England into her own image. She's a moderate Protestant, so the Anglican Church had a moderate Protestant bent to it. The Pilgrims, they did not like that. They believed that the Church of England would never change and that it was beyond corrupt, and so they just wanted to separate from it. They wanted to go away. Well, that's going to be a really controversial position to have, and so the establishment Anglicans are going to persecute the Pilgrims, these separatists, to the point that the Pilgrims are going to leave. Now, we all know that they ultimately arrive in the Americas, but that's not the first place they stop. They actually they live in a city called Scrooby, my favorite English city name. It just sounds cool. But nonetheless, they live in Scrooby, and they are going to leave for Holland in 1607, 1608. And they're going to spend about a decade there. But what the problem is going to be is that the children that are born in Holland while these separatists are living there, they're going to pick up Dutch customs. They're going to put in a Dutch dress, Dutch ways of speech, Dutch accents. They just basically said, these aren't Englishmen, and so we need to leave. So they return to England, but with the backing of the London Company, they are agreed that they are going to sail across the Atlantic Ocean and go to the Americas. Now, everybody knows where they stop. They ultimately stop in Massachusetts, but what you don't really know is that that's not where they're supposed to go. They were supposed to actually show up in Virginia. Well, through bad luck, perhaps bad navigation, they show up actually in New England, in an area known as Cape Cod. They missed their mark, therefore, by 200 miles. So because they did not reach their final destination, they believed that their contract was null and void. So you need a new contract, a new agreement, in order to establish a new colony in the New World with the Pilgrims or Separatists in mind. And so they get, before they step off the famous ship, the Mayflower, they come up with the Mayflower Compact. And basically what it does is it binds the people to the will of the majority. The majority votes to do this, they will do it. And this is so the Mayflower Compact is our first written document of self-governance in the colonies. It's kind of like a constitution. We like our constitutions written down. The problem is they are going to barely survive their first winter. They arrive here in 1620, and they barely survive. And in spring of 1621, two Indians, Squanto and Samoset, of the local Wampanoag tribe, are going to stumble upon these pilgrims, and they're going to approach them with a treaty and also show them how to live in the Americas using American ways of farming. The result of which is that the 1621 is by far a better year for the Pilgrims. So the Indians teach the Pilgrims how to grow corn and how to fish. And in the fall of 1629, they get together, and the Pilgrims and the Indians, they celebrate the harvest. And we call this Thanksgiving. And they do this constantly, celebrating Thanksgiving, but at some point the holiday goes away and will not be resurrected for some time.